You want an investment edge, but all you hear is noise, hype, and half-truths. Every signal is solid information, but only if you can see the bigger picture. This is where the Quasar magic happens. Weather, charts, news, all financial signals, funneled into a single dashboard. Data alone isn't enough. Quasar Markets turns it into energy, sharp, clear, precise. Optimize with Quasar Markets today. Your edge when investing.
Good morning, Quasar family. Friday, October 17th. I'm Hondo. That's BigBeat. Futures bounced off the morning lows, but the message is clear. Risk is nervous. We've got regional bank jitters. VIX spiking into the high 20s earlier. Gold printing records and crypto under pressure. We'll hit the banks. American Express's beat and raise. The GLP-1 pricing shock from the White House. AI and China risk via Oracle and Micron, SLB's steady quarter, the crypto quarter drop down, and more. Apple enters, Formula One. I mean, it matters for the rest of the world. No one in the U.S. watches it.
But I think that's a good thing, though, right? Apple's moving out of just the U.S.-centric companies. You know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I never, I don't. I mean, but don't do it. Yeah, I don't know. That one you got me on. I didn't have that in my lineup.
It just came out. That's why I posted it.
It's but I don't know that that's gonna move the needle for Apple. F1. Hey, Marilyn, how are you doing today? What will move the needle, Steve, is Jamie Dimon credit cockroaches, right? Regional banks and loan losses. The spark was Zion's flagged with a $50 million charge-off tied to 2 car and insurance borrowers with legal action swirling. We then saw Western Alliance headlines around a borrower fraud suit. Add Fifth Third flagging up $200 million in losses. And boom, the KRE ETF that Steve has talked about just yesterday ate a 6% slide. What do you think, Steve? What do we got here?
I mean, well, it's interesting that I have been talking about this for how long, and it's right. You know, I think a lot of times people don't really understand high finance. It's not easy, right? People understand a Robinhood account in front of you. They understand buy, sell. They understand FOMO, but you need to understand the calculus behind the understanding of how things work. And loan maturation is a big deal, right? So when you look at people that are taking out loans, whether that's for a car, for a home, or believe it or not, groceries nowadays, these payday loans these are all adding up, right? And everything behind these loans is a company, right? You can't just take money and just give it away and then people don't pay it back. Well, it's okay. We'll just forgive you. Don't worry about it. And we'll just write it off as again, because that's become the norm. Right. But that's okay for a Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, who, by the way, turned off the Apple Card. Right. It's not okay for Fifth Third. It's not okay for Western Bank shares. Right. It's not okay for First National of Main Street. Right. It's not good for them. They cannot handle these kind of loan maturations that people just cannot pay back. And we saw that in 2008. Well, we have
why it matters is that credit accidents cluster. You really just see one roach. If we're only in inning 2 of a credit tightening cycle, small and mid banks wear it first, because 200 million, as Steve was saying, matters a lot to Fifth Third. 200 million is nothing to JP Morgan.
And Jamie Dimon's comment about cockroaches means where there's one cockroach, there are 1,000 cockroaches. And he's right. In other words, where there's smoke, there's fire. And we're already seeing that, right? And you and I have been talking about small banks, regional banks for the last 2 months. So this is nothing new to me. What I think is happening, and we've said this, is expect mergers and acquisitions. So this doesn't mean you just start shorting all the banks, right? But it does mean that in my case, I'm not buying the mutual funds and I'm not buying regional banks ETFs, but I am looking for companies that are banks that are still kicking out cash, still making it, doing the. You know, what was interesting is when the CEO of Wells Fargo, who's no longer there now, during 2008, was like, well, I don't care about this. It ain't gonna affect me. I didn't make those bad loans to these companies. He did it. He actually was very smart about it. Come to find out, he actually had, and he needed the money too. He said he wasn't going to take the government money, and well, the government's like, it's free, take it anyway, right? The government, that money's gone.
Yeah,
It's where it went to. New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, crypto. That's where it went to. So now there's no more money, free flow money, money market, M2, shall we say? I can explain M2 later, but this M2 money is at an all-time high still. That's why the markets are up. That is a bad red flag, and we've been talking about it. Now here we are. Bitcoin dropped again, and I'm not happy about this. This seller here is relentless. I don't know. This isn't the long-term holders selling it. Is it, Howard? I don't know what's going on. You said perps, right? Still.
Yeah. I mean, and again, the whales, the long short ratio is 94, so 6% to the downside, which is a big swing. It means the whales are shorting because if you look at the individual account holders, okay, they're 3-1 long. So retail is buying the dips, and the whales are still short. Until
and it's okay with me. I'm okay with it.
Until I see that structure turn, we're bearish. I told you we're going to revisit, I think, 98 personally. I do think we are. And that's where the big bounce comes, and where legends will be made.
Well, at that point, my behind of being a legend might be hurting a bit, but I'm okay with this. I'm not scared.
I mean, listen, when it broke down last week, I said we have a 50% chance of hitting 100, and it's now, I would say, 78 and 80% chance.
And most of us sold at 125, 126, was where I was.
I'm not scared. I'll be, like I just said, that's where legends will be made. The people that buy it will be like when you said, when it hit 75, you bought it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna hit, 100, and then it's gonna hit maybe 150 by the end of the year. I still say 135. I'm still in that 135 boat. But that's, so that's what it's at. That's where you got to be ready. That's why I've been preaching, have money on the sidelines. That's why you've been preaching, have money on the sidelines, is be ready to go after it right now. Otherwise, you got to be playing it short. I mean, it's just that simple. Steve, American Express, though, we know that they in general have a cleaner book than others. A lot of times also, they like to deal with the upper echelon more than the bottom echelon. They just dropped a clean beat. EPS $4.14. Revenue $18.43 billion, up 11% year over year. They're raising full year guidance, so I knew you would come back with that. Looking for an EPS of about 15.2, up 9 to 10%. Star of the show, the Platinum refresh. Demand exceeded expectations, and new U.S. Platinum acquisitions doubled versus the things. Fees are up, services are up, and millennials and Gen Z are swiping more often than their older cohorts.
I don't know that they're swiping their physical cards. I think they're using this.
Yeah, however, there's just, you know what I mean. They are using they're using it. They're in. They like the perks. They travel more than the generation above them, and all that stuff. And they like experiences. And how you get to that stuff is with the specialized perks. Again, my thing that I laugh about is that, listen, it's not a bad deal. If you look at it and you use the stuff, then it's great. In other words, $895 means nothing if you use Clear, and if you use their Amazon discount, and if you use their Apple TV discount, and you use those things, they're great. The one that most people, at least my friends all bought it for the travel, for their clubs. If you've been one of those clubs lately, it's like mayhem. It's a free for all. It looks like Carnival Cruises.
Where are we talking about? The Amazon,
the Amex like clubs in the airports.
I mean, I am. You'll easily find me in the United Club. I'm a member there, and I get it free. But it's a free for all in the Amex one. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, man, it's mayhem. It's mayhem in there. I mean, now I haven't been in the airports in a few months like you have, so that could be changing with where it is. But yeah, I mean, the people, they just can't even. You get in there, people are sitting on the floor in there. It looks like the terminal has more seats. It's crazy. It's
So
crazy.
what do they get? Like free food and free drink, right?
Free food, free drinks, you know, a better bathroom. They have a shower in a lot of them, things like that. But again, it's just so overcrowded.
I think the biggest news right now in air travel is Starlink at United Airlines. If you're a member of their, which we are, you get free Starlink on every plane that Starlink is on.
A thing on CNBC where they were calling each other. Elon was on the phone with the CEO of UAL, I believe it was.
Listen, I mean, that to me is a game changer. I will spend more time on United.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
because right now it's $8 to fly. You put Wi-Fi on if it's a daily thing, or quote, you can buy a subscription, which the subscription for the Wi-Fi is expensive as heck. But Starlink for free for every member of their ecosystem, that's huge, and I will highly take advantage of that.
Awesome. So, Steve, we are about 17 minutes from the open. The tick is slightly positive, advanced decline, though, down about 1,300 here today. Tech hit probably the hardest here, down about 26 basis points is the NASDAQ. SPY slightly down, Dow Jones slightly down, leading into the open by sectors.
And no one here should be going, I didn't know. No one here should be saying, I didn't know. We have been banging the table saying it's coming. There you go. See Flanagan coming in. There it is. Good morning, everybody. Reverberation of the correlation trades continue. Last Friday's Trump tweet, and now even worse is cracking credit. You know, a couple people have been asking me over the last few days, Steve, can you find a silver lining? Find the good. Steve said it yesterday. You know, look, you can throw a dart in a dark room and hit something bad every time, but can you find the positive? I can't. I'm looking. I'm looking.
I'm not going to argue with you today.
Okay. I'm with Jamie Dimon on this.
I wasn't arguing with you yesterday. You know, I think that people are in a better shape than you're giving them credit for. I think
that they are.
I
think they're worse than they think they are, and they don't know it. Look at
that part is I can't argue that. I mean, I do think, again, I was out last night here in the Midwest in a restaurant, and it's, you know, a nice restaurant for where we live.
What I'm saying is I don't think people know okay, good example. American Express says the government shutdown hasn't hit customers yet.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, no, because they still got paid.
That's what I'm saying. Main Street and Wall Street aren't talking to each other, and they want to make sure that it's all good. Steve says peace. I don't know if he's peace out or peace in. Let's go, baby. Peace is happening.
He's pointing out the silver lining is Trump talking to Putin, and it looks like maybe the threat of the tomahawk.
Because the last time Putin and Trump got kicked for a walk like a little dog on a leash out there, right? I mean, it's like,
look at that. You guys are so far apart, and luckily I'm here to translate for both of you.
I love it. Look, I see the world a little bit differently than Steve does, and that's good. I mean, he'll be on a little bit later, and I'm excited about that because I want to talk to him about that. But the truth is, I don't think. Look, 40% of Wall Street is owned by 10% of Americans. So there's a problem here, right? There's a disconnect. Wall Street is not the economy, and people look at the stock market, it's up. Well, that has nothing to do with people that can't buy stock, right? So when you look, the cracks that Jamie Dimon is talking about are bubbling up. It will hit Main Street, and Main Street will hit Wall Street as earnings to Amazon and earnings to Royal Caribbean. I mean, right now my inbox at my mailbox is full of Royal Caribbean ads. Hey, I haven't paid for a cruise. I have so many free cruises, Howard, I can't even go on them. I have so many free cruises right now, I can't even go on them. So when I look at that from that perspective, I go, how bad is it at Royal Caribbean? How bad is it these places? So yeah, I mean, I people need to be careful here, because if they're saying that the market's gonna keep going up by the dip, I don't see the dip. This morning, that dip in Bitcoin, I mean, that was rough for a lot of people. We're talking about 108 to 104. That's 4% drop in less than an hour or two.
Yeah, we use the elevator. It's a turbo one.
Right.
Up and down. Yeah, I mean, it's that disconnect between the high-end consumer that's still acting like it's 2021, travel, dining, experiences
Yeah.
still happening. Amex, they're only their write-offs are 1.5%, 1.6%. They've got a quality of borrower that that's part of it, and that would also speak to what you said, where why regional banks are the first to get hit. They don't have that quality borrower. They hit the folks with that mid-level credit and say, hey, we'll charge you high APY, and in good times they make good profits because of that high APY, but in bad times there is definite risk of credit failure. Steve,
and I was just reading this morning. If you haven't got a chance, I'll try to put the link up here. I'll put it out there for everybody to get it to. I just wrote an article this morning as I was working on it. Hopefully you guys can get that link to my LinkedIn. I posted it there. I posted it on Twitter as well. What's happening in the world of finance in that aspect, and I'm going to pull it up here for those of you who can't see it. Redfin data. That's housing data that just came out. Talking about the American dream. How are people affording housing? And it's not just buying the mortgage or paying the mortgage off or the rent. It's everything, right? And we're seeing that 41% are eating out at restaurants less, taking no vacations, working additional hours, borrowing money from friends and family, selling their belongings. That's the top 5. Receive and skip meals and work an extra regular job. I mean, this is not a normal economy, right? That's not an economy that says to me, hey, everything's fine out there. If you're having housing insecurity, this is what's happening. So to me, Howard, that tells me everything. And housing is the very basics of sustenance.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying when I mean that Main Street and Wall Street aren't connecting too well.
Yeah, without a doubt. There, Steve, we're going to go a little bit different here. Trump versus Ozempic here, from credit cards to carbs. GLP-1 shock. President says he wants Ozempic Wegovy pricing closer to $150 a month.
I'm like it. I love it. I love the president for this.
Okay. Is this policy tomorrow? No, but options markets and price probabilities and timelines are today's reality about it. I love it, right?
Third largest, biggest problem in the United States is health care. I would say, and we talked about the biggest one, I think, which is housing and food insecurity. If people are overweight, and that's a drain on the system. It's a drain on the healthcare. It's a drain on everything. And I believe in it. These are miracle drugs. I love it. I myself am on them. I will tell you that it's a game changer for me. And I eat less. I do everything less, right? And that also is adding to it. But if people can't afford to make their health better, I know I heard over the last 2 weeks, it's poison. It's poisoning your system. No, it's not, because everything on this earth is a poison. I guess if you want to go that direction, right? I mean, that's nonsense. What I am saying is that if people really are overweight and they really are causing problems, and it is a health issue, heart issue, the number one killer of anybody is still your heart, right? I think that's becoming a big, and you're seeing it now in technology where, your health is becoming priority number one. So I applaud the president on this, Ozempic, but remember that this is also a drug that Mr. Robert Kennedy hates. So thinks that we shouldn't even have them. So there's a problem here in the administration.
Yeah, well, those battles don't usually end well for the folks that are on the other side of the president.
Good to be the king.
White House. Yes, that absolutely. Steve, looking at the Mag 7 here, I'll bring up the charts quickly. NVIDIA looking right now to open in the red, down about 1.1%, right around that 180 level. Apple is up 11 basis points, a little bit of a pop since Steve put that news up there about Formula One.
Because that brings in the international. Formula One is between that.
But I'd have to look more at it. In other words, did they get like BM's coverage, or did they get worldwide coverage? Or
worldwide coverage for 5 years. Worldwide coverage, the whole thing, 5 years.
Yeah, for folks across the the globe, that is a bigger deal.
Right.
That's what I wasn't sure yet. That's what I
Okay,
said.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have explained that. Yes, it's a 5-year deal for everything on F1. They got everything, and that's big.
It's going to be interesting. They would have to get a lot for me to get Apple TV. I'm just going to be honest. And I've had it for
I think to me, Apple TV is now included in the new Apple One Plus, right? You get TV, arcade, news, and music, and 2
Well,
terabytes.
that's their goal. Everybody subscription. I mean,
They got me, Howard. I mean,
yeah, well, but you are good for, you are a subscription company's like wet dream, Steve. I'm sorry to say, you are a compulsive buyer. You know, and there,
Kevin and I went through it.
I'm looking at it from, I just wonder, and I would ask those of you watching, how many subscriptions do you have?
Yeah.
Because what I've noticed is that I finally actually looked and cut a lot of them out. Like I had a lot, and I'm like, man, this is just too much. I don't even watch.
I did the same thing.
I watch CNBC for 90% of my TV, or like you're saying, a Netflix show, or Tombstone, or whatever it might be. So
well, I did the same thing. Like I have Disney, and I cut out Hulu. Disney's now with Hulu. I had Amazon, and now with Amazon, I've got Paramount, and I've got all kinds of cool things.
And that's what we did. The wife and I've also realized that between credit cards we held and other things, we already had access between us to most of the stuff for free. That's what I mentioned about Amex too, about your Amex card, making sure you look to take advantage. I am terrible at that. All of my, and it's not like they don't warn me. I get a notification every month from Amex, Capital One, and Discover that say, hey, you have unused rewards. And I'm just like, yeah, seems like a lot of work.
I do use my Kindle rewards.
My wife loves it, uses it every day. It's
absolutely good for her. I love it, because I do use my Kindle rewards. I've got my Kindle in front of me. As most people know, I read a lot.
So anyways, talk about the Bitcoin drop down, Steve. We do need to hit it before we get to the market open here. Again, I've been as you've been preaching about it for the regular market, since last Friday's drop. I've been telling you we're not done yet. I still think that 98,000 is that bottom you want to look for. And I think we're gonna get, until I see the whales have changed their direction, and the things that I will look for to let me know if that's the case is, where is the leverage ratio on the long and shorts? Where is open interest on the futures? And then you're watching for spot volume to return. You need to see the spot volume return. You need to see the whales accumulate again.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. I'm with you on that. Although I will say that for me, I've been buying all the way down as I sold off it. Everybody here knows at 126, 125.5. Now I've been buying back. I bought it back at 110, at 108.5. Yesterday I bought a big chunk there. I'm a little bit on the skis here a little bit, but I'm not too concerned about it. We've been here. We've been here before.
Yeah.
As my dad always says, act like you've been here before. So here we go.
Yeah. And for those that are wondering where that why 98, it just lines up. That's
okay, my man. You know what I'm looking at this morning again.
Shorting Tesla.
Yeah, I think it's over at skis, and I think there's a big gap to fill, and I think we might be getting close to that gap.
I can't argue. I mean, it's not a good-looking chart. I mean, and again, like you said, if it breaks, it's got room down to 410. If it breaks 410, you go to 395 pretty quick. So for a scalper, absolutely, definitely there. And even on a swing trader, you could be looking at that, especially if you think you're negative on the market overall.
One of the things that I've noticed, Howard, over the last few days is even everybody here knows I don't know. I would have to ask the public too as well. How much margin has your bank taken off of you?
I haven't had any, so I don't know. I mean, I don't use a ton, so that's what I mean. Is I'm not in that majorly for, you know what I mean, and so I will say, and I know why Amex is not only at 1 point whatever, because they did give me a hard time a few months ago. when things started looking bad, they already sort of hit people up and said, "Hey, why don't you pay down some of your credit card debt for us?" And
Oh, they did, huh? Okay.
yeah, well, but it wasn't a margin thing or something. They just like they prompted you that they might look at your credit if you don't.
That tells you what kind of trouble the banks are in.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm
That was again with Amex months ago. So,
and we talked, and that's why we've been talking about it for a while, right?
yeah. And the other side of that is every other bank in the world is sending 752 credit card offerings. So that's the other part, Steve, that even has me more nervous about the credit cycle and what's going on is that they're not, I don't know about anybody else, but I get, 20 a day from, all those different banks that are looking.
There are a lot of options that are also pulling off today too. So it is Friday. Just be careful out there. That's all I got to say. This is not a fun market for a lot of people.
Banks do look like they want to rebound today so far. I don't buy it. Steve, is that a spot you might look to short here?
What's
JP
that?
Morgan, Bank of America, Wells
No.
Fargo, they're all up in the pre-market.
No. Brian Sullivan on CNBC now says Apple buying US F1 rights for $140 million. If you pay for the F1 app, as he does, he says, it'll apparently be free with an Apple TV subscription. F1 had basically almost no media value a few years ago. TVD was worth something like $4 million a year in the past few years. Yeah.
Well, sports in general, I mean, it's crazy the amount of money being spent on these alternative, what I would call alternative major sports. It's insane. They're printing billion. As the WNBA prints billionaires, everybody else wants to buy all of these new soccer leagues, all these things because they just keep going up in value. And look at the valuations of the NFL.
All right, here we go. Buckle in, Buckaroo, Banzais. Here we go.
Let's get this started.
Markets are open. Tesla is pushing to the upside, and I am all right. I am now short. Let's see here. It could push up a little bit here this morning. Yeah. I'm short 426.86. Oh.
Tick is down about 168. Advanced decline opens up negative 2,700. Dow Jones opens up right about flat, just went negative.
And Howard, I mean, this is just nutty that it's 423 now. I took that money and ran. Yes, very nice move here on the open for those of you who are paying attention with me. So it's been easy money. I've not missed on Tesla yet. It's an easy. Oh, here we go again. May do it again here. $426.86 to $424.08. That was a heck of a move. And bouncing back up again.
Ticks up 277 now. So we do see the Dow Jones now go back positive. First of the indices up about 10 basis points here. SPY still down 13 basis points. Q's down 32. Small caps obviously are going to be under more pressure today, down 58 basis points as they are the most hurt by the lending crunch.
I think I'm going to take that money. Stuff it in my pocket. I'm going to sit in the sidelines, my man.
Gold seeing a little bit of a pullback here this morning. Same with silver, actually down 2% here this morning. Lunar up 5.75% here. What is Prex?
Dollar's flat here. Dixie's flat.
Bank First down, up 3.77, so a little bounce in some of these regional banks. Same thing, Fifth Third up 3% here.
Gold dropping below 4,300 here, and silver is now dropping below 53.
Yeah, down. American Express up 2.72% here. Zion up 2.68, so a few of them starting to bounce up on the regionals here. AST Space Mobile down 6.65%. Biggest laggard out of the majors so far. State Street down 6.52%. Looks like they had good earnings, so I'm not sure what's weighing on that.
Tesla pushing here a little bit to the upside.
Rigetti down 6.69 now here, getting hit pretty hard.
Tesla could go positive here. Could go green a little bit today. 428.34 now. With 428.66, 70, 78. It just went green.
Eli Lilly down 3.21% on that GP1 announcement. Wow, Kratos defense down 10% here today almost.
Yeah, Kratos defense is I always wow, I'm definitely gonna oof, I missed that short again. Damn it. I missed the short there in Tesla. I thought that was a little too easy. No, gold and silver are getting slaughtered right now.
Do you think that means there's going to be good news out of Russia and the Ukraine?
Well, I think the president's saying that there is. I mean, he's tweeting about how great he is.
I mean, Peter Thomas did mention that would be a $500 swing.
He did. Premium, yeah.
Yeah.
Tick 251.
Down
Tick
100 from the high. Bitcoin actually getting a little bit of a move finally to the upside here. Sectors of the S&P all positive except for technology, Steve. So retail is buying the dip, or somebody is. Ticks up 200 here. Advanced declines move from negative, what was it, 27? Almost negative, 28, all the way up to negative 1,100. Nice little pop off the 50-day MA on the Dixie here, DXY.
Bitcoin's trying here at 106. United States bought the Argentine pesos Thursday in blue chip spot markets.
That sounds like a terrible investment.
Tesla now pushing higher here, 429.65. It's widening here a little bit.
Steve, Nike back down 66.78 here.
Yeah, agreed. I think they're seeing a lot of people that are just holding off on that purchase of shoes and stuff.
Yeah, down from 81.
All right, I am now short Tesla once more up here.
Oh, we'll get to that.
And I will be ready to go.
Talked about in the pre-market are now all down fairly significantly here. JP Morgan down almost 1% here. Wells Fargo 1.43%. Goldman Sachs 1.36%. Steve, is there one or two of the banks that you think are more resilient than the other?
JP Morgan. But I like Goldman Sachs. I mean, I like them both. They're both.
Yeah, those are the two that I was sort of.
They're both tit for tat.
Affluent customer in general.
They're both tit for tat. They're both tit for tat. And I just took that money again on Tesla.
Nice.
Now I can sit on the sidelines and be okay today. It is right. It's fast trading, big numbers. You can move with options if you need to sometimes, but I thought that was pretty good there. I like that move. Oh, look at that.
Steve, I have one for you. Did you see CME is looking to get into the sports prediction markets?
I can't wait. That's exciting. Let's destroy another market. You know, I get it. It's gaming, gambling. I get it.
Isn't that crazy?
It's mind-boggling. But you play the game in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying, hey, if we can get in, why wouldn't we? I don't blame them, but it is.
I mean, there's no SEC right now.
You talk about combining gambling and investing.
That's the two should never be on the same platform, anywhere, shape, form, or fashion. Should not even be thought of. But that's not where the world is right now. Look at Tesla continue to slip here on the back of that. WTI now still under 59 bucks a barrel still. Oh wow, Tesla's still selling off. Oof. Damn it. A little too quick there. It's okay.
Dow Jones is up 22 basis points. But definitely still looking weak. SPY right at VWAP. Ticks back down 100 here. Advanced decline down 1,000. Dow Jones up 23 basis points. SPY up 20 basis points. The Q's down 42. SPY down 18 basis points. VIX has come off the high. Steve got as high as 29 yesterday, 28.99. Back down at 24.59.
Yeah.
Man, Steve, how low is oil, like you just said, going to go? Is it going to hit that 54.196 here that I've got targeted?
We hope not. I mean, that would really tell you that the world is not good at all.
Man, Steve. CRM having a nice day today, up at 1.51% here. Costco moving up a little bit here today, also up 63 basis points. Took a big hit yesterday. FedEx continues to recover here very nicely, Steve. 237 up a little bit today from the lows last week of 224. Nice little recovery.
Yeah.
Intel down 1.19% here this morning. JP Morgan now down 1.09%. Lennar up about a percentage point today. That's a weird one, considering everything going on, right?
I mean, we know that there's a problem in the housing market.
Yeah. Why are they up?
Well, I think that people are looking to buy cheaper homes, right? And I think that's what you're seeing.
Yeah. And they have the home builders have an advantage because they're also tied into the lender.
Right. Of which the 10 year is now still below 3.993%. Oh, look at Tesla continue to sell now. Palantir down almost 2% here. Bitcoin at 105.2 now. McDonald's is up 0.5%.
Sectors of the S&P have turned around now. XLU utilities down, technology down, material sector down, consumer discretionary down. So definitely seen a change there. Same thing, communication and healthcare also down.
Look at that bounce off of that.
400. Oof. We're now back to 1,800 to the downside. So, like we said, keep your head on a swivel. Be careful.
There is nothing here in this market I like right now.
Yeah, I think it's what's beaten. You got to look for what's too beaten up. Like I start to think at some point here, I would be interested, although it already started to bounce a little bit. JP Morgan at Goldman Sachs. They've taken a pretty big hit here. 826 to 747. Goldman Sachs, I'm sort of targeting this 932. I will say I'm starting to see people hit me up. Is it time to buy? Is it time to buy? So I do see some appetite starting to come in. And I mean by folks like Mr. Bauer and some others that know what trading's about. So it does look like maybe money wants to start to come back into the world of crypto. So we'll see what we get. I told them to hold off. Hopefully I still have a job soon.
I think you're right. I mean, I think I might have jumped the gun a bit, but I'm not too concerned about it either way.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's only 5% more from where we're at.
Right.
That's where we're at. Mr. Flanagan, how are you doing today, my bud?
Oh, the dark clouds are over the markets.
Yeah.
Come on, Steve. Defend your boy here. Yesterday, the world was dying. Today, the world's all great. Oh, there's no problem in China. He sent everybody out dumping. We call it dumping the trash in the White House. That's not negative on anybody politically. Trash day is today. Options burning this today. Make heads or tails of this, Steve.
Okay, sure.
I love your answer about the New World Order. So let's go with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a result, and Okay, this is a result of the United States sitting on a tight monetary policy and being extremely restrictive with credit. Now you're beginning to see the cracks in the banks. And when I say that, the only way out from a 2008 scenario, which I've heard you guys mention a couple of times yesterday and today, is stimulus and credit stimulus. We need more money. I mean, that's the way that the addict is addicted today, right?
I mean, it's just like put it right in the vein, man. I mean, like there is no money. There is no money, Steve. There is no more money to throw around.
Well, in actuality, you've got the big, beautiful bill that was passed, and there's a ton of stimulus over a period of time, but people will see quite a bit of stimulus in the near term. There will be more government spending in that time frame in the near time. So I would say the cavalry is on the horizon and is coming. But let's just look at this, and I'm an FX guy, so I'm going to back it up and let's look at the macro world. You've got, not next week, the week after, a series of central bank meetings. You've got on the 29th, you've got the Fed, presently at 4.25%. On the 30th, you've got ECB, presently at 2%. Bank of Japan on the 30th, presently at 0.5%. Bank of Canada, 29th, at 2.5%. You've got lower rates all throughout the world. It's just the United States sitting at 4.25. That's kind of being the anchor here. What I expect is these reverberations that we have seen in the marketplaces. What they are the correlation trades beginning to shake and come and show cracks. What is the correlation trade? Bitcoin up, gold, silver up, equities up. Oh, and dollar down.
Okay, Steve, I hear you, but then I hear these cracks, quote, cockroaches. I'm hearing things like housing. People are having food shortages. There's food insecurity, housing insecurity. People can't pay their bills. I mean, we can say that this has been a thing for many, many years, but it's picking up.
It is picking up. There's no doubt.
Is this a K economy?
You're getting to that point, and that's the whole point, Steve, we talked about that must be corrected. We've got to address the haves and have-nots. We've got to address where money is kind of at the upper end, and it does need to be correct. And any great nation has to address that. And I do believe that we are. If you look at the bill that we just referred to that was signed, you've got tax cuts to a lot of the people that are out there earning. You've got tips, and you've got Social Security is not going to be taxed. You've got a tremendous amount of stimulus to people that truly do need it in that end of the income spectrum that we're talking about. But I look around the world and I see already major stimulus being pumped into the world. ECB's at 2%, and you have ECB Simkus today coming out and saying, I'm warning about downside risks to not only growth, but inflation. So now you've got Bank of England all suddenly talking. You've got France having still problems with their government. I believe that the United States is the last anchor, and I believe you're going to see a lot more stimulus. So this is a shockwave that's going on. It is a, hey, you better be watching what's going on. You guys have been echoing this for weeks now about this, and, it's coming to fruition. But I think it'll be a short-lived move. I don't think it's going to be a long-term type thing, but I do think you could be in for another week of some reverberations here. But what I'm watching is the dollar, because to me, the dollar still set up to close lower on the week. We did talk about that the first move up in the dollar, everybody's going to want to sell. All the people that have missed the move down in the dollar. So we are trading around 98.35.40 right now. Last week's close was above us, 98.85. So not a good positive. But when I see the reverberations in the correlation trade, I watch the dollar. If the dollar begins to percolate and start to trade higher, which I believe, that means you could begin to see this situation play out, meaning that you're going to see the crypto space, a lot of profit taking. You're going to see equities, a lot of profit. That you're already seeing that in like quantum computing. Look at this move in 3 days. You're beginning to see all the take profits in the marketplace as people begin to say, well, if this is moving, I have to take off my profits in this. It's not a question of you and I saying, well, I think the economy is going to bounce back. You buy the dip. No, these are automated computers that have to act. There's no emotions in them.
Right.
And that's what I believe we're seeing play out right now. I do think you could see a couple of days of it. I am only looking on to buy the dip. And I'll preface that by saying, watch how quick news can turn. You have Trump has agreed to meet with Putin in Belgrade,
and Xi Jinping,
and he's meeting with the Chinese leader. I mean, so while I'm saying, Steve, I recognize the negatives, I'm watching the dollar because that's going to tell me where this next.
Okay, so are you saying the positives are outweighing the negatives? That's what I'm asking.
No. But right now, today, right this moment, the negatives are weighing the scale down. And like I said, go into a dark room, throw a dart, you're going to hit a negative. But watch out, because the way these markets change and the way they move, there are potentials out there for quick, sudden shifts in sentiment. Because my thing, when you said earlier today, show me a positive out there in the world, to me, it's peace. You've got the Israeli-Hamas thing, pretty much getting to the finish line. And now I watch out for the Ukraine. Zelensky.
I don't agree with that. I mean, we still see where Hamas is. They're killing their own people now at this point inside their own country. Bibi did not show up in Egypt. I mean, peace is not really breaking out on the borders, right? There are some people moving back in the strip, but not much. I will say, I'll give you this. There's a 48-hour peace now between Afghanistan on the border there in Pakistan. But Putin is, I mean, we saw Putin and Trump meet several times now, and Trump calling Putin a good guy, and then he's a bad guy. And I wish, what was it that quote Trump said about Bibi? He's screwing me, right?
Yeah, but I think
I can't put my finger on it.
But you got to look at Putin, head of KGB, a tough guy, right? He loves to have the pictures with his shirts on. Okay, and he's looking at this guy, Zelensky, who was a former comedian. And there's not a lot of love there.
You still don't attack the country because the guy's a comedian.
Steve, the loss of life is horrific. There has to be peace. I believe there will be peace within a couple of weeks. And I believe
do you think there'll be okay, let me back that up. Let me just say this again. You said this. You think that there'll be peace on Ukraine and Putin in Russia. I'm not even going to call it Russia. I call him Putin because I think there's some massive uprisings going on in Moscow right now. Putin and Ukraine. You think peace will break out in the next 2 weeks? If that's the case, the markets will go higher, period.
Right. And that's going to be the premise of my thesis. Okay.
All right, then. I like this. New world order, peace in Ukraine. And what happens if neither one of those happen?
Be prepared for some continued October reverberations. And in that case, we want to watch the dollar index because of all the positives in the correlation, meaning of all the trades that have gone up and appreciated, the one that hasn't is the dollar index. So people would say, well, if everything's going down, you got to slam the dollar. Absolutely not. If everybody's taking profits across in all these correlated trades, they've got to buy back the dollar.
Right.
You just can't sit open-ended on that. These are computers. They will go, I'm selling NVIDIA, I'm taking back my dollar hedging. I'm selling in crypto, I'm taking back my dollar hedging.
And when you sell it, it goes in the dollar anyway, or whatever denomination.
So that's why I watch the dollar index. I do believe that the dollar goes up in general, as we've talked many times about, the window of opportunity to get all this money into the U.S. that's happening. But, that aside, I'm watching how severe the situation can go is by watching the dollar index. Were the dollar to begin to spike higher, watch out in these other markets. You could see the other leg of selling, taking profits or taking off the correlated trade.
Right.
But I do think pieces out there on the horizon. I think money that's in the know is beginning to be aware of that. And I would be watching for that, the posturing of that type of trade, because you begin to take geopolitical risk out of the equation, which we are trying to do, Israel, Hamas, which we have done in a number of other places. This opens up, the financial markets, because the risk factor, the big, heavy risk factor, is moved aside.
We're just, quickly, we've talked about this for a while now. The regional banks, the cracks are there. The JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon calling it the cockroaches. Where there's one, there's a bunch. We know that from 08. Where there's smoke, there's fire. All the adages that you and I know, Steve. Are you seeing the same thing? I mean, I have been screaming about the housing market is not as good. Credit defaults are now at all-time highs, especially in auto ownership, leases, things of that nature. Is Main Street just not connected with Wall Street right now? Is it just a loss? And they're just, I mean, the number of people that I see, Steve, that say, I'm not watching TV. That blows my mind, right? And I don't mean just TV, but I don't watch the news. Okay, well, how do you know what's going on in the world? I just know I watch TikTok. That bothers me, right? That grinds at me, because these people are in the next level of our economy, right? I don't care about what's really going on. I only care about what's going on in my neighborhood, and I'm buying with my Robinhood account, and I'm going to gamble on my sports team here. There seems to be I'm starting to grasp your concept here, the New World Order, of how it's not just international, right? It's also how we as people in the United States are starting to accept this new philosophy of gaming and zero DTEs and peace and war. Okay, that's great. That's not here. That's over there. Trump's putting troops in my city to protect me. Is this what you're talking about? This overall arching 50,000-foot view of how the New World Order is, or is there something that we're missing in general?
I think you've highlighted a number of issues. One most important is perhaps the lack of awareness of a good segment of the population. Okay. I think that when I look at the younger generation, though, I begin to see a much more in tune generation on the horizon coming in. So I do think.
But in tune to what, though, Steve? Are they in tune to TikTok? Or are they in tune to the real news, the real understanding of how the world really is working?
I think they're in tune to it all, but I think that they're also that awareness level gives them a much greater intellect when they look at the situation. I think they're more willing to get involved in it. I think they're more willing to make decisions on it. I will only highlight my own situation as an example. My 18-year-old grandson is with me, and he's looking over my shoulder, looking at the trading screen. And, I explained to him quickly how I've made a decision to do something. And he's immediately, oh, I see that. So in other words, if this happens, you would, and I look and say, wow, okay, you just grasped onto an idea that, takes quite a bit.
5 years to understand. Right. I mean, that's a great point. I like that point. I've got a dear friend of mine that runs a very large esports company. And he made a comment once time to me. So, see, growing up, we had 3 TV channels, in my case, 3, 6, 12, ABC, CBS. Today, kids have 5 billion YouTubes. They're inundated with all kinds of stuff, and they can grasp it a lot faster than we can. Now, I'm obviously surrounded by news all day long. It's shoved down my throat, but they grasp it, and maybe do they grasp it in a different way than we grasp it?
Yes, totally. They grasp it in an entirely different way. They find
that for me. What is it they see that we don't see?
They're able to weed through a lot of the BS out there. They seem to have a knack where they're inundated with TikTok and all these things. But
Yeah.
next thing you know, I get a text message from one of my grandkids, and they're like, "Have you seen this?" And I'll be like, "Wow, who is covering that?" Next thing you know, I'm following a new person on Twitter who seems to really be out there on the cutting edge of news. So yeah, they're able to weed through things and really define subjects a lot better. Now, Steve, this is an entirely new field. What we're talking about with this TikTok generation, we could call it. This is brand new. This is, like you and I, when we first got an Apple iPhone, the wow. Look at
You mean
this.
as in like 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you gotta remember. I was about to say, Mr. Flanagan, you just confused yourself with Steve.
Okay. Okay. No, but no, I like this. I like this. Let's talk about this point for a second. I like this. This is a great point. What becomes of the next generation that goes, okay, well, your generation is TikTok. Our generation is Pluto news or whatever the news is next, right? I understand there's a shift in how we absorb the news, but the news is still the news. It's and how Howard and I and how you see it and how all of our friends see it and how my wife sees it and how the lady down the street sees it and how their kids see it and how we all absorb it. There's still an overarching, this is what really happened. The president signed a bill, it became a law. That's the news, right? In the case, big, beautiful bill. But how they interpret how that bill became effective, how they got through it, all the news around it, is you're saying that that's what they're not interpreting the same way that we interpret it, right? That I look at it from the inside. I go, ooh, I know who was there. I know who got drunk at the tune in last week. I know what basketball player was doing. That's how I always got my news because I knew what was going on. But when we see it from, and here's a good example that a very, very good example that I was watching HBO, John Oliver, and he was talking about, the new CBS head who's coming from the right wing, left wing, the fringes of society, is now the head of CBS News. The Murrow Award is because of CBS News, right? Alvaro Murrow. Or is it so slanted now on so many sides that we're blinded by that too, and kids just don't care anymore? I don't want to say kids these days, but kids these days.
Yeah, Steve, I do worry about that because the one element you missed there is, and I think that the three of us remember Max Headroom. The AI announcer, and we haven't. What about when the kid wakes up and AI has already worked for him and given him every headline that he was interested in.
Right.
Now, how did AI interpret that information? Did it just give him the factual news or did it give him a little bit of a bias? And one of my biggest theories in my previous employment was a programmer programs, but a programmer is programming a computer, and there is an element of bias that he will introduce. When you take in AI begins to then take that little kernel, that seed of bias that he put into the program, and it can begin to spin it. And this is one of my biggest fears in this new technology revolution that we're in, is the implicit bias that is being programmed into a lot of our AI.
I mean, that seems to be a little bit. I'm not gonna go all the way to saying that's a conspiracy theory because I don't think it is. I think there is some. I mean, I see your point about some bias and some. I mean, obviously, Quasar Markets. I make it very clear, no bias in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I want straight news.
Yep.
But you may be right. CBS, the way that they're hiring and the way that the AI interprets the new CEO, the way that the AI interprets NBC CEO and president, I could see that. And what you're saying is the generations that are coming in now are able to weed through that very quickly. And it's not to them a conspiracy theory.
I think that they're able to weed through it. Just the following generation, that when AI has now become part and parcel of our daily life, that's when I begin to worry about it,
Okay.
Because then it begins to report what is the news that it's reporting. I mean, even if you look at an ECB, Lagarde made a comment, and then there's three different ways that comment is headlined. One, she says everything's good. Two, she says there'll be no lower interest rate. There's no need to lower interest rates. And the third one will say Christine Lagarde highlights weakness to the economy.
Right. And it's a good point, because for me, my news, I have it all together. When the news pops up, you're right. There are 3 different headlines, and they're all almost all different. They're all highlighting something differently in that news piece. I agree with that. But what if the AI could take all of that out and just put it into one headline and say, okay, here's the 4 things that you need to know about what Christine Lagarde said.
Yeah, and that's why you and I and Howard, that's why when we see these, we read the article, because then we read through and go, aha, oh yeah, but she also said, you know,
Right.
what the headline didn't tell me is right here in the body of the speech.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a difficult period ahead. I do think that the generation that's upcoming.
Wait, you're just saying it's a difficult period ahead for news. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, for the whole technology. This is one of those, yellow zones with a caution flag that we're going to have to address. I see many, many positives in the next, let's call it 3 to 6 years. I see a tremendous amount of positives. I do think that the world order is being recreated, reshaped. I do think that it'll be a fairer system of trade. I do think that once we've ironed this out, trade is going to explode amongst the world, because there'll be a more defined place where somebody's saying, hey, I'm selling all my goods over there to this country because I'm only paying my people 10 cents on the dollar an hour. And that's got to stop. You have an unfair labor. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And I think that once it's labeled and spelled out, the world order is going to be incredible. I think every leader in the world, let's call it Putin and Xi right now, as the 2 that are up on the next couple of weeks will be meeting with Trump. I think they see it perfectly, especially Putin. He's like, look, I want to partake in this world order. I've got natural resources like you wouldn't believe, that a lot of it has not even been discovered in my country yet. And China is sitting there going, look, we want to be part and parcel of the leadership of the world. And I think
does this break down borders of countries then?
I think, Steve, technology, and we did highlight that in our last talk, technology does break borders down, right? Because if you put a system up in the air that brings the internet to every corner of the world, doesn't that in itself break borders down?
And you're seeing countries like Japan now raising their visas and the borders. So, okay, all right, wow, you're firmly in this camp of New World Order here.
I'm definitely of the. Look at all the money that's going into it. I mean, we have to understand it's starting here with technology, and every company is pouring 50 billion, 60 billion, right? They're creating data centers all over.
Yeah.
How is it all?
But when I look at the BRICS,
play out?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. I honestly don't know. I mean, are we seeing the BRICS making one decision and the rest of the world, is it Axis and allies coming again?
The BRICS is a political organization that's, that has, kind of had it with the push and shove of the United States. United States probably got themselves in a lot of trouble in the world by simply freezing bank accounts and things. And people said, hey, I don't want to have this situation with me. The BRICS is a great idea, but it's never going to come to fruition in the sense of a threat to the world's present system. It will be simply absorbed because opportunities will exist for all these nations. And as Howard is all over this stuff in crypto, the way transactions are done in the future is yet to be seen. It's all going to be done off a blockchain. Why should I be sitting there in the world waiting 2 days to get my fund when I've done a transaction? Why can't I have instantaneous access to my credit?
Automatic, absolutely.
Automatic. And the banks are going to love it. There's a weeding out of banks, and I worry that in Europe they still have yet to weed out through their banks from the 2008.
But I don't think the banks have the technology in order to do it. I think that's their problem.
It's very, very true. First one in that market of technology, where I used to work, they have a tremendous advantage because the cost to enter into technology from a financial institution today
I'm
is
aware.
it's astronomical.
I'm aware.
Yeah, I know you.
Okay. I'm gonna let it's 10:13. I'm gonna ask the big question. I want everybody focused here. Howard, I want you to focus. I want everybody focused. Here's the big question here. It's mid of October. We're going into Q4 here. People are nervous. We've talked about 10 ways of Sunday. You said throw a dart, map, black. We've seen some green shoots in your case. You see some peace breaking out. You see the crypto space, people nervous. You see the dollar starting to, looks like, push up a little bit here. Qs are pushing up a little bit. Going into next week and to the end of the month, we have the president going to see into Ukraine with Zelensky in Russia. We have the president going to be talking to Xi Jinping, we think, in the Koreas, right? You're starting to see, in your case, Steve, the New World Order. Things are moving. Things are moving fast, and I think we've been talking about this for months now. And I'm starting to get into your camp now of understanding this New World Order thing that you're talking about. Does Main Street catch on, or does Main Street not catch on? Is this we're at a position where all the things that we've been talking about, the back and forth between all three of us for a while now, is happening? All right. What's the next move to this? Does Main Street catch on? Does Main Street invest this way based on it? Because you're saying kids these are understanding a little faster than we are. Is it all going to come to fruition by the end of the fourth quarter?
That's a short term, but I do believe it's going to definitely be seen by the end of the fourth quarter.
Okay.
In other words, the positives are going to start springing up, and once they start, it's the green shoots will all of a sudden start taking over the field. Does Main Street get involved? Absolutely. Main Street will be involved. Main Street's going to do their taxes in March for quarter one, and suddenly they're going to be like, whoa, a little extra money I don't have to pay. I'm getting a little bit more refund. So yeah, I do think Main Street partakes, and then I think overall, I think 26 is going to be it's going to start off great. And then, like every year, whatever starts in January, it's usually takes the next quarter to unwind it. So I would definitely see an upturn into December, January, followed by a sideways pattern. But I think that the second half of 26 is probably something you and I and Howard, we haven't witnessed in our financial careers.
What is it?
Upside move. Big upside move.
You think that the bull market goes into year 4?
I think that
or a new bull market that we haven't even dealt with yet.
That's what I think. I think it's probably the exuberance that now just simply plays out because all this investment that we have been talking about this year begins to come to fruition and starts to plant. It's going to create a tremendous opportunity. I think America is, well situated. I think Main Street will partake in it. And I think the unemployment rate, while in the short run may ebb up a little bit, I think it pretty much anchors itself in around this 4% level. Now, from our perspectives, a 4% unemployment rate is phenomenal.
Really good.
Yeah. They used to say 6% was a fully employed economy.
5.5, yeah. It's 5.6, yeah. Wow. Okay. Mr. Flanagan's pretty bullish. Howard, what do you think?
I come in between you guys every time. I told you. I believe that we do have upside by the end of the year. I do think we have a correction that is underway right now. Although I will say SPY and Qs and Dow all up very nicely here right now. 30 basis points, 40 basis points. So again, the dip buyer is showing up. I think we have short term, the banks, we got to get through that. I do think that the precipice of if we do get a Ukraine deal, I do think that drives us through the next sort of run up.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we go down. I think people are I think the exuberance in this market is a little too high for me. People just, it's not matching, right? I mean, I'm in the airports. I'm at the grocery store. I'm watching people. I mean, I saw a lady behind me yesterday put food away because she couldn't afford it, right? Just that is happening, right? And I think we're in a K economy. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and it's not, this recovery is not even. And when you have an uneven recovery, that's when you have unrest in the country.
So, Steve,
yeah, but again, the top 10% do 50% of the buying. It's if that top 10 moves up, the economy.
But what happens come November next year when the voters start to come out again?
It's a long time from now. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's the question that I'm asking.
You're asking me about this December, not next December.
No, you're right.
You know, and that's what I'm playing the hand in front of me here. I don't think, you know, what scares me more is Mr. Flanagan's to be against you. You know, I've been on your side here a little bit to swing it the other way.
No,
you think stimulus? We're going to add to our deficit? That's crazy. Well, you know, so I get, like I said, I don't agree with anybody. You know, I think both sides.
Trump just tweeted 100% China tariff is not sustainable. Right. So I don't know what I mean.
But Howard, on the deficit as a percent of GDP, the deficit will shrink.
Okay, if it does, we got to get there, though.
Right.
Pretty
yeah, but that's the whole. That's my whole,
right now, and you know, and
that's my premise. My premise is that we are going to see an asset appreciation like we've never seen before, and in a GDP debt to GDP ratios will drop. And Steve, to answer your social unrest type of thing, once this Ukraine thing is done, and the trade with China is done, which I do believe are, full attention will be turned to exactly addressing that issue in the United States, the separation.
Well, you've been saying for the last 3 weeks that we're going to have a deal with India, and India's not even the dinner table yet.
You can't necessarily announce a deal with India unless you've got China in progress or almost agreed. Just look at what's happened with South Korea.
Because the BRICS?
No, because of the pressure China can exert suddenly on South Korea. They're all of a sudden like, you know, South Korea's, you know, negotiating with the United States and they're like, whoa, we're going to, you know, you can't put your ships here.
And Taiwan too.
Yeah. So, you know, this is this is that type of chess game that they played in Star Wars, or Star Trek, 3-dimensional type chess.
Star Wars and Star Trek are not the same thing, Steve Flanagan. That we're going to disagree on.
Okay, you got that. I would agree too.
Steve Flanagan, my friend for many years. Howard, obviously 35. I really enjoy these talks. I think we're getting a lot of this. I'm hearing from people out there saying it that they're beginning to understand this. And in your case, Steve Flanagan, saying the New World Order. I think, Steve, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do it. I think if you think we're in a New World Order, I think you should name the New World Order. I think you should coin a term in the next few days, come up with an idea that says, and we're going to call it this. Call it the New World Order. Let's get off of that. Let's give it a name.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Homework. He's good at that. He likes those things.
You know what? I'll turn to one of my grandkids and ask them. They'll probably nail it right away.
There you go.
I love it, the grandkids, and enjoy your grandkids while they're still there, Steve. All right, Howard, take us home, my man.
Absolutely, everybody. The markets are moving to the upside slightly here. Like we said, Qs are now up 28, 30 basis points, SPY up 18. You know, so we are seeing some buy the dip. I did see a note from Mr. Bauer saying the backwardation in the VIX today has a feeling we could see a big pop in the market here by the end of day. So keep that in mind. So we are hearing some bullish signals out there by some folks that are giving you reasons why. So everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you again first thing Monday morning.